Ever found yourself delaying tasks that are important but not urgent, only to feel guilty later? Well, welcome to the world of procrastination. It's a realm where tasks are always put off until tomorrow, where the to-do list seems to grow exponentially, and where stress and guilt are the unwelcome companions. Procrastination is not just about laziness. It's a complex beast fed by fear, perfectionism, and a distorted sense of time. It's a silent productivity killer that can lead us down a spiral of unnecessary stress and anxiety. It can rob us of our potential, stifle our growth, and leave us feeling overwhelmed and underaccomplished. But it's not all doom and gloom. The good news is, there are ways to tame this beast, to break free from the shackles of procrastination and reclaim control over our lives and our productivity. If this sounds familiar, you're not alone. Let's explore how you can overcome procrastination and start getting things done. So what exactly is procrastination and why is it an issue? Well, the term procrastination comes from the Latin verb procrastinare, which means to postpone or delay. It's essentially the act of putting off or delaying tasks, particularly those that require immediate attention. Now, why is this problematic? Procrastination often leads to a cycle of delay, stress, and guilt. The more we delay, the more the task seems daunting, and the more daunting it seems, the more we want to avoid it. This spiraling cycle can lead to underperformance and can even affect our mental health, making it a significant issue to address. But what causes procrastination? There are several factors that contribute to this behavior. One of the main culprits is fear. Fear of failure, fear of success, even fear of change. These fears can paralyze us, making it easier to delay action than face potential disappointment or change. Perfectionism is another significant factor. When we strive for perfection, we often set unrealistic expectations for ourselves. We may end up delaying tasks because we're waiting for the perfect moment or the perfect conditions, which, let's face it, rarely ever come. Then there's a lack of motivation. When tasks seem tedious, boring, or unimportant, it's easy to push them to the side. We may convince ourselves that we'll be more motivated later, but often that's just a delay tactic. And finally, procrastination can be a symptom of deeper issues, like a lack of self-confidence, feelings of overwhelm, or difficulty in decision-making. So now we see that procrastination is not just about laziness or poor time management. It's often a complex issue, rooted in fear, perfectionism, and lack of motivation, and it can have serious consequences for our performance and well-being. Now that we understand what procrastination is and why it's detrimental, it's time to learn how to overcome it. The first step in overcoming procrastination is acknowledging that it's a problem. It's like being lost in a maze. To find your way out, you first need to realize you're lost. Procrastination is no different. Now you might be thinking, but isn't it just a harmless habit of postponing things? Well, not quite. Procrastination is a persistent habit of delaying important tasks, often leading to stress, a sense of guilt, and a drop in productivity. It can be a roadblock in your path to success, so how do we tackle this? The answer lies in self-awareness. It's about taking a good, hard look at yourself and your habits. It's about being honest with yourself and acknowledging that procrastination is a problem you're facing. It's about realizing that your tomorrow never comes because it's always crowded by the tasks of today. Remember, self-awareness is not about self-criticism, it's about self-understanding. And once you've acknowledged your tendency to procrastinate, you're ready for the next step. Next, it's time to prioritize your tasks. Now, that might sound easier said than done, but with the right tools and a bit of practice, you'll be a pro in no time. One of the most effective methods for prioritizing tasks is called the Eisenhower box. This technique was named after the 34th President of the United States, Dwight D. Eisenhower, who once said, "What is important is seldom urgent, and what is urgent is seldom important." His words perfectly encapsulate the principle of this technique. Imagine a box divided into 4 quadrants. The top 2 quadrants are for tasks that are important, with the left side for urgent tasks and the right for tasks that aren't urgent. The bottom 2 quadrants are for tasks that are not important, with the left side for tasks that are urgent and the right for tasks that are not urgent. The aim is to clearly categorize your tasks based on their importance and urgency. Tasks that are both important and urgent, such as a looming deadline at work, should be done immediately. Tasks that are important but not urgent, like maintaining your health, should be scheduled for later. Tasks that are urgent but not important, such as responding to non-essential emails, can be delegated to others. And finally, tasks that are neither important nor urgent, like mindlessly scrolling through social media, should be eliminated from your to-do list. This technique is more than just a time management tool. It's a decision-making tool that can help you focus on what truly matters and prevent you from getting overwhelmed by a mountain of tasks. It allows you to allocate your time and energy where they're most needed and avoid wasting them on unimportant tasks. Remember, it's not about doing more, but about doing what matters. The Eisenhower box is a practical way to identify what those things are and to put them at the top of your list. With a clear view of your task's importance and urgency, you're well equipped to tackle procrastination head-on. Now let's move on to the next step: breaking tasks into manageable chunks. Now let's break down those daunting tasks into manageable chunks. Imagine you're standing at the foot of a mountain, staring up at its peak. It seems impossible, right? Climbing to the top appears to be a Herculean task. But here's the secret. You don't climb a mountain in one giant leap. You do it one step at a time. The same principle applies to any task you're facing. This is where the concept of micro-tasks comes in. It's simply the process of taking a large task and breaking it down into smaller, more manageable parts. Think of it as creating a series of mini-projects within the larger task. Each mini-project becomes a stepping stone to completing the larger task. Let's say you're writing a report. Instead of thinking about it as one big task, break it down. First, you could gather your materials, then create an outline, after write a first draft. Each of these steps are individual tasks that are much less daunting than the whole. This concept isn't limited to work tasks either. It can be applied to any area of your life. Want to start a fitness routine? Don't try to run 5 miles on your first day. Start with a 15-minute walk, then gradually increase your exercise time and intensity. By breaking tasks down into micro-tasks, you're making the job less intimidating. It becomes easier to start because you're not overwhelmed by the sheer size of the task. It also helps you to keep track of your progress. Each completed microtask is a small victory that pushes you closer to your end goal. Remember, Rome wasn't built in a day. It's the accumulation of small steps that leads to big results. So the next time you're faced with a daunting task, don't despair. Break it down into microtasks and tackle them one at a time. By breaking tasks down, you'll find them less overwhelming and easier to start. Time management techniques can be your best ally in the fight against procrastination. Remember, time is the one resource you can't manufacture or buy more of. So, let's explore some popular methods that can help you manage your time wisely and overcome procrastination. First up, we have the Pomodoro technique. This method is surprisingly simple but incredibly effective. Here's how it works. You set a timer for 25 minutes and dedicate that time solely to the task at hand. No distractions, no excuses, just pure focus. After 25 minutes, you take a 5-minute break. This short interval is your time to relax, stretch, or grab a cup of coffee. After 4 Pomodoros, you take a longer break, say 15 to 30 minutes. The beauty of the Pomodoro technique is its simplicity and flexibility. You can adjust the times to suit your needs and the nature of your tasks. Next, we have time boxing. This technique involves allocating a fixed time period, or a box, to each task or group of tasks. It's like making an appointment with yourself to work on a specific task. Once the time is up, you move on to the next task, regardless of whether you've completed the previous one or not. This forces you to work more efficiently and prevents you from dwelling too long on one task. Lastly, we have the Eisenhower matrix, named after the former US President Dwight D. Eisenhower. This method helps you prioritize tasks based on their urgency and importance. You create a 4-quadrant box and categorize tasks as either urgent, important, both, or neither. This way, you focus on what truly matters first, avoiding the trap of spending time on tasks that appear urgent but are not important. Remember, the key to successful time management is consistency. Choose the technique that resonates with you the most and stick with it. You'll be surprised at how much more you can accomplish when you effectively manage your time. With these time management techniques, you've got more tools to beat procrastination. Let's quickly recap what we've learned about overcoming procrastination. It's been a journey across the landscape of our minds, exploring the terrain of procrastination and charting a path to motivation. First and foremost, we dove into the necessity of acknowledging the problem. Procrastination isn't merely a habit, but a hurdle that hampers our progress. Recognizing it as an issue is the first stride towards surmounting it. It's about owning up to the reality and taking responsibility for our actions. Remember, you can't fix a problem you don't admit exists. Next, we emphasize the importance of prioritizing tasks. It's about not only knowing what needs to be done, but also understanding what's most urgent and important. The skill of prioritizing allows us to focus our energies where they're needed most, thereby reducing the overwhelm and anxiety that often feed procrastination. Then, we moved on to breaking tasks into manageable chunks. This technique transforms what might seem like a mountain into a series of small, achievable hills. By breaking tasks down, we make them less daunting, more approachable, and easier to start. It's a practical way to sidestep the intimidation that often leads us to procrastinate. Finally, we explored the use of time management techniques. Tools like the Pomodoro technique or time blocking can serve as powerful weapons in our battle against procrastination. They help us structure our time, maintain focus, and ultimately make headway on our tasks. But remember, these steps aren't a magic cure. They're tools, and like any tool, they're only as effective as the person wielding them. It's up to you to put them into practice and make them a part of your everyday life. It's about steady, consistent effort and a commitment to change. Remember, overcoming procrastination is a journey. Take small steps, be patient with yourself, and keep moving forward. You've got this. If you enjoyed the video, please consider liking and subscribing, as it helps our channel grow and continue to create new and interesting content. We encourage you to express your thoughts on the video in the comments and share our content with others.